Hello, everybody. Welcome to the still unsponsored podcast.
Live from New Orleans.
Live from New Orleans, where we cover marketing, management, and other BS.
Lots of the other BS.
Exactly. Yeah. So this episode is an experiment because we are actually on a rooftop bar in New Orleans
On location.
Our original stereo mic. So this may or may not work.
You gotta be optimistic. It's gonna work.
It's gonna work.
It's gonna work. It might sound a little funky. Might be a little bizarre. It'll work.
All right.
Also, so it's during the day.
Yep. It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. No beverages either.
That's right. Normally we cover the what are you drinking?
Correct.
We have been drinking coffee.
Yeah. And water.
And we've been here for 2 days, so we've been drinking.
Right.
But, yeah. So, anyway, the hum in the background, I think we're just going to have to deal with that unless we get that out and post, but we'll find out.
It's the ambiance, man.
It's the ambiance. But there's not, there's not a lot of, party noise or whatever, so...
Well, we picked the quiet side of the city, I think.
That's true, we did.
We're in the business district.
We also have a GoPro running, so... You may be able to check us out on YouTube if all of this comes together properly.
When the stars align.
When the stars align and everything, happens. So, anyway, episode 3. So we're going to cover a little bit of news, and then we're basically, I heard this referred to as navel gazing, or it's sort of meta. It's a podcast about how to start a podcast, right? But... I think what we're going to try and do here is we're going to try and transfer as much of what we've learned so far in our wise 3 episodes.
Well, 3-ish.
3-ish. And more importantly, what we want to do is actually plan a launch, right? Yeah. Because we really want to try and maximize what we can get out of the iTunes algorithm, and we've done a little bit of research on this. So what you're about to hear in the second part of the show is basically 2 marketing guys that have a lot of experience with acquisition marketing trying to figure out how to do something new.
Right.
And if you are listening to this and you don't know us, you're not related to us somehow. Hi, Mom.
Well, there goes that one other audience member. I've started eliminating them every episode.
So, anyway, if this works, then you will be listening to us plan the marketing plan, the launch plan that worked on you.
Wow.
How deep?
Yeah, that's real deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some other bullshit first. Damn it, and now I have to mark it as explicit. That lasted 3 minutes.
Well, better than the last 2.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so... Did you read the article about Amazon and businesses that are not... Okay, so...
No, fill me in.
Okay, so this was from some rando website.
Quartz Media?
Yeah, I've never heard of them before, but they came up on Google News or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was basically going over a Wall Street survey talking about what Amazon couldn't disrupt, right? Because... Amazon is basically out there disrupting everything.
They're going vertical by vertical, just chung 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 chung. Yep.
And the news that sparked this was that Amazon's getting sportswear brands, and the company signed with a vendor that produces clothing for Gap, Uniqlo, and Kohl's to make a private label athletic wear for Amazon.
So soon, instead of wearing Nike, you'll be wearing Amazon.
Maybe. Maybe. You and I are both fans of Lululemon.
Yeah, so we'll be wearing Amazon athletic wear.
Maybe. So
hopefully they get the black stretchy thing figured out.
Well, I think that's going to be one of the differentiators right there, because it's going to come down to product, right? Because Amazon has the Hammer, which is their distribution channel, and so I think it said here that Lululemon and Under Armour dropped 2.2 and 1.8% down respectively. On this news, I think maybe more as a consumer or someone that's interested in the end product, until I saw it, I probably would be skeptical of what Amazon's about to put out. So, yeah, sorry, I'm just watching the levels. I'm leading.
You know what? It'd be interesting to see. I mean, the question is, how many people buy those brands for brand's sake?
True. Yeah.
Right. If you go down, no one shops at the malls anymore, but if you go down the street in the city, for example, how many people really care what they're wearing? Is it the label versus the quality of material? Because I know Gap's been trying to crush this market, specifically like the sportswear kind of Lulu market.
Right.
Gap's been going at. They have Gap Athletica or something else. I mean, they're really. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. No, and I guess it's like Under Armour and Lulu could still defend themselves by having technically superior gear.
Yeah.
Right. You go into an REI, right, and you see brands across a spectrum, right? And the higher end brands that demand more for their products are the ones that are like technically superior.
Yeah.
And when we talk about like technical outdoor gear, that's like moisture wicking, Gore-Tex, even type stuff. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I would still expect my Lululemon shirt to dry faster than my Amazon Athletic. Hopefully. And if it doesn't, then that's going to be a crazy shakeup.
Well, I mean, Amazon also can just exit pretty darn quickly, too. I mean, did you ever read that Jeff Bezos book? It was a biography. It was an autobiography. It was a biography about Jeff Bezos, kind of the Amazon takeover. Yes, no?
No.
Anywho, so one of the... essentially, they would roll out in different verticals. Like, I don't remember this, but they actually were trying to take out jewelry. And they were supposed to be a big jewelry kind of... And the arch nemesis was Blue Nile.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what? They realized it's not worth it, Blue Nile. Right. We see to you. Congratulations. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens as well with the sportswear. If it doesn't take off, well, kind of just shake it off and move
so
on.
Maybe the people that should be worried here are the Gaps, Uniqlo, and Kohl's, because Lululemon in particular, I think Under Armour, I feel like their brand might be waning a little bit as they like diversify out into a million different verticals.
Mm-hmm.
Lululemon's kept it pretty tight.
Yeah.
So. And I think that they've maintained a tighter grip on their brand by not using other distribution channels.
Yep.
So, we'll see. We will see.
What was the other one? I was just browsing real quickly. So the other category was auto parts, which is safe from Amazon.
That one I almost have a harder time believing that one's safe, because you got to get the distribution channels in, but that seems like. What does an auto parts store do? They deliver quickly a high volume of SKUs.
And you nailed it quickly.
Which is what Amazon does. It seems like that is dead center. Whoa, is that a jet? What is that?
It sure was. That's exactly what this article is saying, is that it's not even about the price sensitivity. It's all about the extreme purchase.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're cruising on the highway, something blows up, you need to stop immediately. Get something. You're not going to wait for Prime.
So are we going to live in a world where like you blow a radiator hose and so then you prime now like to the side of the road your new hose?
Give me a break. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
You're not into that. I would be.
No.
All right.
No. Never.
Okay. Zach's service shop would be prime nowing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. So, with self-driving cars coming out here in the future, I would not be surprised if you go to work one day, your car drives itself to the auto dealer or the repair shop, gets itself fixed, and then picks you up on your way home from work.
Well, that would be sweet.
Wouldn't that be pretty good? Damn
cool?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, totally. Well, I think it was even Gary Vaynerchuk was speculating that, like, you would send your automated car off on errands like before you even woke up, right? So you'd be waking up or whatever, and the car goes off to Starbucks and gets your dry cleaning and whatever, and comes back.
I can't wait. I'm saving all my marbles. As soon as that first totally level 5 car comes out, can't wait.
I'm with you. Yeah,
it's a revolutionary. We've had many discussions.
We'll see if this actually happens. But yeah, I know. Okay, so we've had many discussions off.
Yes.
Not being recorded.
Right.
I recently went the other way. I bought a 4Runner because I wanted a Stone Age technology, like off-road capable vehicle that would get me to the point where I could buy a pod car and not have to drive.
Yeah.
Right. And then I would have 2 cars. I would have the car that would like definitely required human interaction to drive because it was fun that way.
Yeah.
So that's your sports cars and your off-roaders. But, think about like all the BMW 5 Series, Lexus, GS type cars, like dead when automated comes out.
Essentially,
right?
They got to be on that bandwagon quick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the other thing that you and I had speculated about, and you had made fun of me for, was like the return of coach builders.
Here we go. I was waiting for Stagecoach to come out.
Okay, well, no, all right, but
here we go.
All right.
You know what? We should actually table this for another conversation, perhaps.
No, I want to do it now.
You want to go down the rabbit hole?
I want to do it now. Okay,
right.
so
here we go.
According to my automotive history that I've learned from Top Gear, so someone's going to Wikipedia this and be like, "You're wrong." If I'm wrong, you can hit us up on social.
Yeah.
Stillunsponsored.com.
Yeah.
But basically, in the early days of automotive, there was people building platforms, and then there were people building the interiors ahead.
Yeah.
Or sorry, on top of that, right? So, given the...
We might be cut short here. Looks like there's some kegerator stuff.
Oh, okay. These guys are AC guys. We'll see. Given the complexity of building a level 5... Okay, there's an aluminum ladder coming out here, and then I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, but the GoPro's in the way. Close enough. Anyone fast forwarding will be like, what? Okay, so what I was saying was the Stagecoach.
Hey, we decided to do this outside, so we deserve that.
It is a beautiful day out here.
It is a great day out here. Okay, so there's not going to be... I feel like it's less complicated. There's two different core competencies. Building a great interior and building a level 5 automated car, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that it's in a conceivable future...
On scene.
On scene. Oh, damn it. If they're working right over there, this be just about to end. Damn it. All right,
we had you going. You were going. You're going down the rabbit hole.
We're going to power through. Okay, two different core competencies.
Yes.
Building a car interior, building an automated car.
Yes.
You may go pick, I want the Android automated car, and I want the BMW interior.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Whew. Got that out.
I still don't see that ever happening anytime soon.
Yeah. All right.
Who knows? We'll see.
Fine.
We only have to wait a few more years anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We hope, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, second news story. Beer marketers search for answers as wine and spirits keep winning. Okay, so I chose this one basically just because I'm into wine. But it is interesting that millennials have basically stopped or are not drinking as much beer. So
Well, it's not hard to understand why. I mean,
no?
it tastes gross.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You know, it's like coffee. You know, you can get acquired to the taste of coffee. It's the same thing with beer. If when you had your first sips of beer at age 21 or older, it probably did not taste very good.
Well, okay, so I wonder also, this story basically just begs more questions than it has answers, because now I just immediately want to go segment, and I want to say, like, okay, are the gallows of the wine world winning in this, or is it like wine has so much diversity that you can go be a hipster very easily and say, oh, it's this great bottle that I found for $10 and you'll never find again? Like, we were discussing this earlier today. It's like, it's sort of hard to, repetitively find things at different stores in different regions of the world, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way wine's distributed. Whereas, like, Bud Light's Bud Light, Bud Light, Bud Light, right?
Consistency is key.
Right. So, is the beer world eating itself with all these microbrews that are popping up in places like, Portland and Austin? And,
It could very well be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think people too. I mean, I don't know. It seems just from my perspective, people like to hang out with friends and whatnot, and it's much easier, I think, to hang out with friends drinking a bottle of wine or having some nice cocktails versus pounding down some beers.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you also get. In terms of drinking, I mean, even though you get different amounts, you get hit harder.
I would say among my friends, it's maybe still split between beer and wine drinkers. But definitely the beer drinkers aren't drinking Bud Light, Coors Light, Heineken.
They've gone up market.
They've gone up market, and and that's not to say that like that's regardless of basically where they've ended up economically. It's like I think there's just like maybe this is a byproduct of the internet, like a general demand for diversity, right? And if you're not providing that diversity, then
Well, maybe all right. So let's take it. Let's go super wide here. Okay, so maybe beyond that, maybe it's like how now everything's farm to table, fresh, and you want to know the history of where your food's coming from.
What's the chicken's name?
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Portland, do that. The same could be said for beverages too, right? Like, so your Bud Light's coming from who knows where. I mean, some factory somewhere. Consistency's key. Yeah, Bud Light's Bud Light, as you were saying. But if you have these microbreweries, well, then you get to listen to the beer master and talk about the hops and all the ingredients they put in and blah, 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 blah. Like, so, I don't know. I mean, food and drink aren't two separate things in the grand scheme of things, so maybe that's just what's happening.
It would be interesting to go study how old the phenomenon of wine tasting actually is, right? Because I bet that's fairly recent, like last 20 years, last 30 years, something like that.
No.
It's gotta be, like, Napa's not that old, right? Judgment of Paris or whatever was like in the 70s or something like that. So we're going down a rabbit hole here, but
we are.
But I'm wondering if the beer world is just following the same phenomenon the wine world has.
Yeah.
Where it's like people want boutique producers, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Or the illusion of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like you go look at, say, Constellation, right? And they own
Huge
all these
multi-freaking gazillion company.
and they air quotes here, I'm air quoting, like own these boutique, Charles Smith, Kim Crawford, like whatever. You think you're getting that that little vineyard in Marlboro, and it's actually multinational, like publicly traded giant business. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Main topic time? Where are we doing on time? Let's check. We're at 17 minutes.
All right.
We're cruising. Hey, this could be our first 45-minute episode.
Hey, let's go for it.
Episode 1 was, but now we've debated whether or not we actually want to release that.
Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah. Okay, so basically what we wanted to do is talk about what in sort of this in two parts, putting together a podcast, which might turn into a little bit of me monologuing, and then part 2, marketing said podcast. So I think that we're not going to go into near the depth or do justice to the how-to. And if you go Google how to put together a podcast, you're going to run into a guy named Pat Flynn from the Smart Passive Income podcast. Met that dude. Super chill.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
Seems like it.
He's a partner of ours in our real life. So, awesome dude. Although, I will have to say, this whole concept of smart passive income, these guys that are, awesome in that space,
yeah,
they're still working their ass off.
Oh, yeah. There's no such thing as just sitting back relaxing. Yeah, they're doing their thing.
Pat Flynn's hustling, so, yeah, passive income my ass.
Yeah. It's active passive.
It's full-time, guys. And those guys probably work more than your average, 9-to-5er corporate dude does.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So putting together a podcast. So if you want to put together a podcast, what do you need? Basic equipment. You're going to need something to record it with. When we first had the idea, while sharing a bottle of wine,
it was more your idea.
Okay, but
I'm just along for the ride.
You agreed to it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No choice now.
Non-committal. It's like you were asked to be married and you said, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want this tattoo? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Plus or minus.
Plus or minus 30%.
Yeah.
Okay, recording equipment. So I was at first thinking we'd do this on our phones. Not really a great idea. Then I investigated a bunch of USB mics. If you're going to have more than 2 people on the podcast, you really don't want to do that. You want to get what we're using, which is a Zoom H5n. I'll put a link in the show notes, still on sponsored.com. now sponsored by Amazon. But yeah, this thing's where it's at. And they have lower versions of it, and then there's also a bunch of companies that do it cheaper. So this is sort of like the professional grade gear that you could get that makes expansion really easy. And then what we were talking about in our last podcast is I went and bought the Chinesium, $22 microphones, which from listening to the audio that came out of that thing seems like it was really good.
Pretty legit.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. So I would invest in the recorder. I did invest in the recorder. And then everything else secondary.
Yeah.
So it's either shit that I had laying around or it's like very cheap stuff I got off Amazon. Software, I run Macs at home, so GarageBand, but Audacity is the tool that everyone uses that's open source.
Yeah.
And so you can download
Thing's
that.
been around forever.
There's a million different tutorials online on how to use both of them, so no problems there. If you're going to do video, then you just compounded your problems exponentially. So we have a GoPro recording this one, which if I look at the GoPro, you can't hear me anymore.
Focus, you fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So the GoPro, you then have to sync audio, video, and then we want to eventually get to the point where we're streaming live.
Yeah.
Right? For marketing reasons.
Yep.
And for editing reasons, because we don't want to invest a lot of time, can't invest a lot of time in editing. And so the more live to tape, live to, upload type situations we have going on, the better. So that covers that. I think that pretty much covers the setup. Like if you get a recorder like this and you start talking, you're pretty much there.
So what would you say cost price points were? So the microphones were $20. How much is the recorder?
The recorder's the expensive part. That's probably $250.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you want the GoPro, it was like $150 or so.
Yeah, but you could use a webcam or something like that.
Yeah.
And the recorder, you can go a lot cheaper.
You nerded out.
I nerded out, and I had aspirations of us continuing this.
Yeah.
So I sort of have benchmarks where I say, okay, if we get to like 10 episodes, then I'll add like, a better microphone.
Right.
Or if we get to 5 episodes, I'll add like a mixing board. So that's where you start layering on these things, and you have to kind of think about what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to do like Skype in someone, all of a sudden you're going to need a big mixing board, and you're on your own then.
It keeps compounding very quickly.
It keeps compounding.
Yeah.
It gets a lot more complicated. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Marketing stuff. So,
I can talk.
yeah, exactly. So, we're way out of our depth here, right? So, what you're hearing right now is us talking about what we intend to do, and if you're listening to this podcast, it has worked. Hopefully.
Maybe.
So, from what I have researched, the iTunes algorithm rewards spikes, right? So you want people to go to your show and hit subscribe, and the more of them that do it in a tighter time frame, the more likely you are to get moved to, top, best, this week, new and noteworthy type pages on their site, right? And those are the site that the discovery pages that people use to find new podcasts, right? So if you can game that algorithm.
Game is the wrong word. Utilize. To your advantage.
Play to. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, city noise. That sounds like...
That's a motorcycle.
That's a motorcycle. Yeah. Okay, if you can work that algorithm, you're doing good, right? But we have a bunch of like second order problems, right? Because that's what we want, right? A bunch of subscriptions, but we're gonna have to use other channels to get people in there,
right?
And we're not working with an email list,
Correct.
and neither of us have massive social media profiles,
Correct.
so we're literally starting at the bottom.
A great artist once said that. Yeah.
All right, so we grabbed a domain name,
Stolensponsored.com.
hosted it, At HostGator.
HostGator.com.
Exactly. Installed WordPress.
From WordPress.org.
Exactly. Actually, I used the OWP product, so it was out of the box like that.
Optimized WordPress, got it.
Yeah, sorry. Optimized WordPress. Throw some analytics in there. Join my mailing list. We use SumoMe.
Sumo now.
Just Sumo.
Yeah, they bought that. They made a whole big stink. They bought that domain for like $1.5 million or something.
Oh.
Sumo.
I'll let us know about it. I'm having lunch with them next week. So.
Yeah.
Cool. So, build out your website. I've been working on the content. Zach has been telling me that it blows in terms of responsiveness.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So,
I'm gonna fix it.
Okay, but this is an important point for people that are looking for like overnight success. And this has been my experience with WordPress. Everything requires tweaking.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not going to just install some theme and have it work for you. Don't expect that.
You can, but you're not going to be happy with it. There's always going to be like, ooh, I wish I could change this piece of it. Or, ooh, it doesn't work quite right how I wanted it to.
I always end up screwing around with CSS.
Yeah. Which
you're going to screw around with CSS because you're better at it than I am.
Yeah.
Right.
As I said, I'll be the one fixing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people learn CSS?
Oh, you can search for it anywhere on the internet.
Yeah. But you want to do like, what are the tutorial sites that run you through practical examples?
I don't know, man.
Udemy or Code Academy.
Code Academy
is one of the ones that I'd recommend if you want to learn that stuff.
Lynda.com, which is now owned by LinkedIn, which is owned by Microsoft.
Yeah,
Lynda has some good courses.
Codemy, I think, is free, totally free, and it's sort of gamified, so it's pretty nice. I think that was the site that I used to learn like Python and stuff. So, not that I still know it.
That should be a topic of why you need to learn Python and what you can do with it.
Why, as a marketer, you need to learn how to code.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's
actually a really good topic we should talk about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, for another day.
Yep.
Okay, analytics, Google Analytics, email solutions. You could use Constant Contact. Everyone uses MailChimp. Right?
Yep.
So there's
So the key is you really want to, when you look at like how all these internet marketers say is like what the linchpin is of success. It's getting an email list,
right,
and activating that base,
right.
And so that's why like even from the onset we're getting that up and running. Right. So before you hit our website, join our mailing list as soon as you come to it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The email list, like, and even you look at like the way that Tim Ferriss is monetizing his podcast, it's all about that email list now. I think I was talking to Ryan Moran, who does like Freedom Fastlane, and I was speculating that Tim Ferriss makes more off his like affiliate links in 5 Bullet Friday than he does off his actual sponsorships.
Wouldn't that be surprised? Yeah, I would not surprise me.
I got that look like Ryan knew the answer but didn't want to tell me.
It really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's the website part of it. Like basically, it's a email capture device, and it's the place to hold the show notes and hopefully get you a little bit of organic search value, right?
Behind the scenes type things for our dedicated fans, all that good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so podcast hosting. There's an important differentiation between web hosting and podcast hosting. So your web host is not going to love you for putting 70 megabyte files on their servers and then having a bunch of people, hopefully a bunch of people, come download those giant files.
Yeah.
Right? That's not really what they're not set up for media hosting. Same way that YouTube's not set up for, WordPress hosting, right? They're just different animals. So you need to go find a different podcast host. So I decided to go with Podbean because it seemed like they had like the quote unlimited plan that didn't limit the amount of storage space. They're running the same game that the web hosts are, right? They're basically, they put a whole bunch of these guys together and then the whole thing balances out.
Yeah.
But it was like the unlimited data, unlimited bandwidth, or unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth.
There's an ant.
There's. Well, you're making the hammer fist, so let's not kill it. Here, I'll do this.
Okay, you're so kind.
Yeah, well, noise was more my concern.
Thud.
Podbean.
Podbean.
Yeah, I like those guys. But it would also be good to look for someone that has like a WordPress plugin. So Podbean does, SoundCloud does, Libsyn does, all those guys.
So Chris, why didn't you use YouTube?
We are going to be using YouTube, right? And you use YouTube in conjunction, but YouTube's not the kind of host that will let people using their iPhones download your episode, right? Because the other important thing is iTunes isn't hosting your files. iTunes is just a directory that is pointing users out to your host.
That's important to know.
That is important to know, right? So that's why you have the Podbean, the Libsyn, the SoundCloud, the whatever. And they basically what they do is they hold your files, they generate an RSS feed that you put into the directories, and then from there, I think the marketing is much more akin to the way that people were marketing their Snapchats, in early days, right? So tying it in for you millennials that maybe don't.
Wait, no, isn't it now Generation Z?
I don't know.
It's the next one after Millennial, isn't it?
Whatever. But Snapchat has Discovery now, so it's not quite as like isolated as it was before.
I still think Snapchat's just a place for explicit rated pictures.
I think many of our team members would disagree with you.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'm an old fart.
Yeah, I think you are.
I think I've said that every single episode. I'm an old fart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we discussed this in the first episode where it's like our generation of internet marketer is not what's out now.
Yeah. Well, let's not reminisce anymore.
Please don't throw us away.
We're still relevant.
We're still relevant. Okay, so the question is, how are we going to create this pop?
Yep.
Right? Like, even if it's small.
Yep.
And the question that we don't know the answer to is, how much impact do we need? Right? So my initial thoughts are like, the small social media profiles that we do have, we'll use. Right? So we'll post like, hey, check out the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Leverage our personal Facebooks. Leverage LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Why not, right? Because actually that's probably the most relevant audience for this podcast. And those people already know us.
I would love to put some paid acquisition behind this.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Facebook ads. Let's go there.
Yeah. So we know who our target audience is. We
Yeah.
probably have alienated every single one of them. So that list gets very small. But for very cost-effective ways, we could do a lot of different things. So we could just literally have an email sign-up list on Facebook, and then have people get sent an email link saying, hey, here's our website, check us out, etc.
One of the things we're going to need to experiment with is, do you send people directly to iTunes, or do you send them to stillunsponsored.com, or do you send them to...
Yeah, so that's the interesting piece, because generally when you go outside of Facebook, your CPCs and CPMs go way up. It's expensive now. Like, you used to be able to get Facebook clicks for like 30, 40, 50 cents. Now it's $75, $1, $2, and depending on how you're targeted, it keeps going up. So
maybe we have our fan page be the landing page that then directs people out to iTunes,
That's
YouTube,
what I'm thinking, because
et cetera.
Yeah, because to keep it on platform, it's drastically cheaper.
So this is where the importance of, like, the reason that we're headed towards live video is more of a marketing tool than, to bring audio, or to leverage or to elevate audio versus actually use the live video. The not live video.
Still blinking.
Yeah.
We're still on.
Yeah. It's still here. Who knows what the framing's like.
It's a good knee shot.
Yeah, it's a good knee shot. Here's my knee. And the people in the audio are like, what the fuck? So where are we going with that? Oh, yeah. Okay, because with Facebook Live, then everyone that was, like, subscribed to your page would get a notification, like, hey, these guys are going live,
Yep.
you know? Or even YouTube, it's like, hey, they're going live.
Yep.
And then the benefit on YouTube is I don't have to, like, recut and upload, you know? So, like, I did that for episode 2, and the file size was 9 gigs. So
Holy moly.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Well, and it's not great, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, like a hour episode is clearly going to be huge. So we'd just be saving ourselves a ton of effort by doing it live.
Yeah.
We'll do it live. Just like Bill O'Reilly. But not like him.
Bad example.
Bad example. Okay, so paid social.
I think that's going to be the move.
Yeah. So Kevin Rose, you know who he is?
Dignation. We already talked about this. Dignation.
Yeah, Dignation dude.
Yeah.
He was literally doing this. It was showing up on my feed since like middle of this week.
Mm-hmm.
He had Alex Albright, whatever his name is, on his show. So it's like Dignation, but just a random episode of the Kevin Rose show.
Yeah.
And I got to figure out how he was targeting, but yeah, he was showing up on both my Instagram and my Facebook. So
That's the only way you're going to be able to get people.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, viral this, viral that. It all comes down to the
Yeah.
dollars. It does.
So the other piece that we haven't talked about yet is leveraging accounts that might know you, right? Or accounts, you know, or organizations that might know you, right? So maybe we could put out content that would be useful to those people and then ask for retweets or cross posts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Essentially link building for the social age.
What our SEOs would recognize as link building.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of different ways you can do this. It's a matter of time, cost, benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this will be like an ongoing thing that we'll discuss. So I think this is maybe like a behind the scenes type episode of like what we're thinking and where we're at in this process. And since we're in New Orleans, it's kind of nice to have just like a chill, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Navel gazing type episode.
Navel gazing.
Yeah.
Is that slang I'm unaware of?
Why are we here? Yeah. Anyway.
Navel gazing?
Yeah.
Just like something my old like grandpa would say. Navel gazing back in my day.
I think this is related to like Buddhism.
What?
Yeah. Self-indulgent or excessive contemplation of oneself. Okay, never mind. It's like more. Yeah. No, this is more accurate. Yeah, I think this is a good description of what we're doing here.
Okay. We're navel gazing. Got it. All right.
Right. Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
And that is your vocabulary word of the day.
Heyo. This is like in that bullshit column.
This whole episode?
Yeah, well, no. All right, so to be fair, I think this episode we probably cover a little bit more on marketing, like much more of a structured format, a little bit more marketing than I think we have in past episodes.
Yeah. I don't feel like we gave as much insight as we potentially could.
Yeah.
But I think maybe this sets up a good foundation for the people that are, again, as we discussed in our last episode, probably working backwards.
Yes. Yes.
Reading the book in reverse.
Yes.
We'll see kind of where we were at this point.
Yeah.
So let's do a time check, and I think it's about time to wrap it up. Whoa, 38 minutes, dude. This is going to be our fastest episode.
You know what it
yet.
is? The not drinking.
You think so?
Yeah.
No, I think we picked a topic that was a little bit thin.
So you need more meteor.
Yeah. Well, and we're sitting in a public place, and
There's stuff happening.
there's stuff happening around us, and it is a little bit awkward to be just talking to ourselves.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've seen some weird things.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. They work in a hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, this has been the Still Unsponsored Podcast.
Yeah.
If you like us, go to iTunes and rate us 5 stars, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Give us some good reviews.
Exactly. Check out the show notes at stillunsponsored.com. There'll be links to everything that we talked about. So the equipment we're using on Amazon, as well as like Podbean and some other options. I'll throw in a link to Pat Flynn as well, his awesome tutorial. If you're working your way backwards, in the last episode we discussed like audio quality.
Yeah.
And audio quality audio quality. And there's a guy named Booth Junkie on YouTube. Gotta go check that one out. Learned a ton from him. You can find us on social. I'm CW360 on all the platforms, and you're
ZKWARTA.
Exactly. So if you have questions you want covered, you can either leave us a comment on stillunsponsored.com or hit us up on social.
Yeah.
And we will answer your questions.
Maybe.
If we feel like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as time allows.
Yes. Next week, we promise we will be back in studio.
Back in studio.
AKA your office.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Mic dropped.